Hello everyone. Welcome to today's video. My name is Lucas, and today we're going to be rebuilding this really smooth testimonial section where if you click on these arrows, it basically, creates these really nice transitions between the different sections where it starts off like opacity, maybe 50% or something like that, and then you can see the cards kind of move, and we can edit it in a way that the cards can like maybe flip and go like that or something like that. We can kind of see how we do that, but basically that's it. This is the section that we're trying to build today. It took me quite a while to understand, but then I was realizing that with framer components you can do this by creating different types of variants. And kind of the way that I find out how to do this is by clicking on inspect and then going here and checking this part right here, going click, and then I can kind of move this a little bit, and again go here, and if I click on these, you can see that there's something on the right side being activated, right? And there's a new field that's coming up called transition to card. So it says transition to card 1, transition to card 2, and transition to card 3. And those are like the middle layers of our component, right? So we're going to be making this one component in Framer with three main variants that are going to be these three testimonials, but then there's going to be like three transitional variants in between, so that every time you click this button, it takes you there to that transition, and then after like maybe half a second or so, it takes you to the second variant. So that's basically it. And if this is interesting for you guys, stick around and let's build this. And by the way, I'm going to have the remix link in the description below, just in case you guys want to have this for your own projects or your own, for your own account, right? So let's get started. All right, so the first thing we want to do is actually go to Framer and open a new file. So I have this new file opened up, and what we want to do is we just want to, well, let's expand this and let's create the different viewports. So I have everything from desktop, tablet to phone. I just need these three. A lot of people ask me why I don't put like a bigger one. I don't do that. I just use these three. So enough of that. Let's go back to Chrome and let's take a screenshot of this. So let's just take a nice screenshot of this section up to here and go back to Framer, and let's put this here on the side. You can even decrease this a little bit, and then what we can do is we can click on inspect and set this to a size that is kind of a mobile view. So let's just use this one, and let's see how it looks like in the mobile version. So in the mobile version we have the same type of animation, but in its mobile view. So let's just get this and take a screenshot, and let's move it back to Framer, drag and drop, just like this. All right, so we got that. Now what we can do is we can start building our little testimonial section. So I'm going to color this and make this black color for the background so it's all consistent. Perfect. And let's go ahead and build this little pill section, right? So we can type something. We can type testimonials, and let's give it a nice font. So I'm going to see what font they're using. So let's click X here. Let's go back here. Inspect. Okay, let me put responsive. And then hover over this Anthro Trial Regular. So I don't know if we have access to that. I don't think so. Let's just give it a try. So it is Anthro. No, we don't. So what I'm going to use is something like SF Pro Display. So I'm going to use SF Pro Display, and then we have this black color. And what I want to do is I want to give it this yellow color. I believe if I were to go like this, it would work. So it can be this like yellowish color. Great. And we can save this as a style. So we can call this yellow. And we can go ahead and what we can do is we can insert a icon. So icon and search feather. And let's look for something like a quote, speech bubble, speaker. No, speaker isn't good. Chat. Let's maybe use another icon thing like this one. Chat. There we go. Yeah, this is good. And then we can basically make this outlined and yellow. And then decrease the size. Put this next to this. Add stack. All right, add stack. And then what we can do is we can see it's like a little bit too much space. Let's just decrease it to like about 5 or 6. And then the stack, we can have the space here 6. And then on the sides, we can do double the space, I would say. And then we'd need a radius that's completely circular at a border that would be yellow. Oh, and as you can see, we need to add a little bit more. Well, what we need to do actually is we need to make sure that it is set to fit content everywhere. And now we have something good. All right. So we can drag this. And by the way, this we might want to make this border a little bit less solid and less yellow. Something like 50% looks good. And now we can drag it in here. And let's make sure that this is set to fit content. And now it's going to be right in the middle. And we can get started. So all of this is looking good. We might want this to be even a little bit smaller, I would say. Just doing these little touches. And now what we can do is we can start and go ahead and build this. So we're going to need to build certain things. So we go back to Chrome and we can see this is its own component. And these two are their own components. They have like this hover effect. In this tutorial, I'm just going to, in order to make it shorter, I'm going to skip creating these little components. I'll have them in the remix link for you, so don't worry. But we're going to focus on this main thing, which is basically the switch, right? So we're going to go ahead and build that. We need one stack here. We need another stack here, and we need a stack here, and then one stack to basically fit it all. And that's going to be our component stack. So let's do that. So let me go to Framer and do that. So we have our logo, which is going to be like a frame like this. We have this text, which is going to be white and not yellow. And we can put like a quote, kind of. And we can go to our plugins and type lorem ipsum. And basically we can generate like a paragraph and apply the text here. Perfect. And we can make the width have a fixed width for now. And we can delete some text because it seems a little bit too long, maybe almost half. So like this. Perfect. Add these quotes. Maybe even make it less. Something like this. And we can adjust the line height a bit to be a bit nicer. And now what we can do, so this is going to be, I guess, like 16 pixels. Let's see how big this is. If I were to go here, 23, 16, 16, 16. Okay. So this would be a little bit larger. Let's make it like 18. And this was what, 14? So then everything else can be 14. So just grab this, make this 14. This can maybe be a bit larger. And this would be the name, so just pick a name like Jonathan Bridge Prep, something like that, I guess. And his position, Jonathan's position, is the director of the company. Right, we just want to put some BS text, make it a bit gray, and then we need a button, which would be read. We can actually use the same stack, but delete the border and the padding. So let's delete the border. Border radius can be 0 and padding can be set to 0. So, and this would be called read case study. And we need a little arrow. We can put that arrow next to the text in here and just select arrow right wherever you see it. There we go, arrow right. There we go. Nice looking arrow. And all right, so we got that. Let's maybe delete some of this gap. Make it like 2. Perfect. Now what we got to do is put these together and make it one little. And actually for this, I would say we can use a plugin called Logify, I think it's called. Yeah. So we can select like some cool company that we think can fit. We can use this one. So this is going to be their logo, the company's logo, at Adian of Director of Marketing, something like that. At Adian. Okay, and then we can delete this. And I want to actually decrease the size a bit. And bring this upwards. There we go. This looks good. All right, and then let's just put this align here. We're gonna align these two by creating a stack out of these two. So add stack. Let's make this gap smaller, like 2. This would be called name. And then let's put all of these into its own stack. That stack, left aligned, and something like maybe 14 pixels looks good. And the height can fit the content. And now we need, well, we're going to have to put this into our frame eventually. But let us just first do this part, right? So in order to do this, what we need is these people. So we're going to have to create different frames for each person, right? Let's just go ahead and create these different frames. So here I'm going to choose an image, and I'm going to choose a Lumi, and I'm going to use something like a portrait picture, and I need a company corporate headshot. Yeah, this is Jonathan, I guess. Or this can be Jonathan. This looks cool. All right, so we got Jonathan, and I'm going to use Jonathan right now for all of them so we don't spend so much time on this, but basically we need different images. We need 3 images, and each image, this is going to be, let's go 1, 2, 3. Let's just set them in order, put them here, and add them into a stack, right? And what we need to do is that each one of these images have to be position absolute, and they have to be on top of each other. So like this. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename these to 1, 2, and 3. So the third one being the one at the bottom. Width can be set to fit content, which I guess it's supposed to work, but it's not. 569, no, that's not it. We can make this a little bit larger, like this. And the images here would have to have a type of fixed width. And we can put them in the middle of the stack. And we can make this stack have a fill right now, so we can kind of tell the difference. And now what we want to do is we want to make sure that each one of these are a little bit more rotated. Yeah, something like that. And we can give them all a little bit of a shadow so that it looks nicer, I would say. And now this stack is here, and we got this looking good. So now we want to put these two together. So this would be like the image stack. So image stack, and this would be the text stack. And then we need one stack that aligns, that contains everything. So add stack, and this is going to be, let's make this a fixed size for now, and we want to increase the gap a little bit here, actually by a lot. Let's say something like 100, or maybe it's 60. It would look also nice like that. Why not? 60 pixels. And I'm checking to see this, and I think we need to increase this size a bit. Let's set this height to fit the content, and let's make these images a bit larger. So let's get this, and let's make them a bit larger. Right now, as you can see, they're quite small. So this looks good. And I would say we can make the space larger because we need the image to go outside. And we can set the width to fit content. Perfect. And over here we might need to adjust the spacing a bit. Let me see how we do this. Or actually, what we can do is we can set a padding. So we can set this to fit the content, And then we can add some padding on the left. Doesn't seem to work. Okay, it's not working because there is a it's absolute, right? So let's add something like a little frame in the middle. Put it in here. Put it out here. Okay, let's not do that. Let's make sure that this is set to fix. So I'm just trying to freestyle here to see how we do this. Then I'm going to set this to fit. And these three, I'm going to basically move them like this and just see how this reacts. If I were to go like this. And if I were to put this in here, how would this react if I were to decrease this? So let's move this like this. Over here, these would have to be kind of moved like this. And then on the phone, it's going to be a different one anyways. So I'm just interested in seeing how this would work. So actually, before we put this into the frame, let's create a component out of this. So I'm going to create a component out of this. Create components. This is going to be the testimonial component. Create. And now we have this testimonial, and we have to do different things. First thing that I want to do is I want to change the fill out of these so that we don't get confused. So let's change this to a corporate headshot. And let's put her. And this one will be another corporate headshot. And it's gonna be him. I'm gonna put her, this one, as the second one because I see this blue and it's kind of distracting. So corporate headshot. And let's look for her. There we are. So now in terms of colors, it looks a little bit nicer. Okay. So we have these different things. And now what I want to do is the following. What I want to do is the following. So we have this image stack on the left and we have this text stack on the right. We can go ahead and set these two stacks to fill with this one as well. And I'm going to remove the gap here. And I'm going to remove this as well. And now what I want to do is I want to start creating these different variants. So I'm going to create, this one is going to be called 1. And then for 2, this is going to be transition 1 to 2. And in transition 1 to 2, basically, this whole text stack needs to be set to opacity 5 or 2, I would say. And then this one, we're going to have to move like this. You see how it's going all the way to the left? That's why we need this large space. So that's why I'm going to delete this and I have to create this large space here. So I guess we have to just, upgrade this add more spacing at least, for sure. And we have to move these like in this direction. And this has to actually be even larger. Okay, let's try with something like this. So we got variant 1, and then we got 1 to 2. And 1 to 2, so this guy is gonna go like this. So how was the degree before? It was 5 degrees. So let's rotate -5. And then for variant 2, oh, and also we have to make this lighter. And for then variant 2, we basically have to just create a variant, and this goes back here where it was before. There's 85. There we go. And then rotate 5, and Z index we have to put lower. Let me see his position: 82, 85, 61. So let's just put this down to 61, 85. Just making sure that everything is $183,277. Okay. So I want to just, oh, we also have to, oh crap, we forgot about that. Before we do this, we have to actually create this little box at the bottom. What I find quite interesting is that they don't have this large space, but it goes like this. And I want to kind of see how they do that. Interesting. All right. Let's build these selectors in the bottom. So what we're going to do is just go back to home and select this, copy, bring it into our component, press paste. Actually, we're going to not use that. We're going to use this. So, all right. Yeah. This, copy, remove this text, and add some padding. Give it a border of yellow and 20%, or maybe 50%, or maybe 100. And let's make this a little bit larger. And let's put this one like this, and then we're going to change this one to arrow left. Put these into a stack. Call it arrows. Fit and fit. And we have to put it somewhere, I would say outside. And with this, so add stack, and the stack would have to go like this. And the arrows would have to kind of go here. And I want to see if these images are set to position absolute. So if I were to select this and click on this, we can see the position is set to center, object fit. This one is set to position absolute. Just trying to see. Transform container the index 1, the index 2, the index 1, 3, sorry. Position absolute, 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 as you can see here. So they are position absolute. And this is position relative. So there's this div that contains these three. And then this. Okay. So let's try to do that. So this would basically be absolute. And then this has a div on top. So these are the three images, and then this div, height, minimum content, minimum height, they have a minimum height, 0 padding, width, so it has a fixed width, and has a fit height. 280 the width, so let's do that. Width is fit content, the height, and 280, and the height they said is 340 minimum height. So framer, let's put a minimum height of 340. So something like this. All right, and then let's put these in the center of our stack. Perfect. And then this would have to fit the content. So we have this going on nicely. Now I want to see what happens. Okay, this is where I'm getting confused, because this is going to have to go out, and if it goes out, it goes out of the frame. You can't really see it unless we put a overflow set to visible. Maybe that would work. So let's just make sure that everything is set to visible, and this one as well. We can set this to visible. And let me go back to the thing, and let's see if I were to go like this now. Okay, so that's basically how you would do it. Okay, I got it. So it's as simple as that. You see, these long sessions, you can learn a lot from it. So yeah, so let's do this. So fit content, we can put like something like fill for this, or not fill, I would say. Let's just see how they do it. So this is height, width, 50%. So they're using relative positioning. And this is position width. Okay, 80% gap here, 80 pixel gap, sorry. So we can add a little bit of a gap. Maybe we can put like 60 pixels. And I would honestly put this as fit, and I would make this fill, but with a max width of 380. So this is set to fill. Or something like that is fine. So whenever someone clicks on this, it's going to take them to that next version. So let's just do those transitions. So this is going to be like we saw before, 1 to 2, and from 1 to 2 we can move this a little bit. This right side is going to be set to something like 20% opacity, and then this guy is going to go to the right, and we can do it at 5%, and then we need a new variant. Boom, variant 3. So let's move a little bit like this. Would see him going back to the 5% and going in here, but with a lower Z index. And then comes the next one. And actually, this one has to have a higher Z index, but let's make the number 2 have an even higher one. Okay, so boom, this is going to be variant 3. Variant 3, this is going to be visible again to 100. So 1, variant 3, and then we need, oh, this is not going to be variant 3, this is variant 2. Boom. And then we need another transition. So transition, this is going to be called 2 to 3. And I want to see how far this is. This is about 50 pixels. Okay, so then this one is going to also be about 50 pixels. And I can put them like something like this. Put this 22%, 0.2, 20%. Add variant. This is going to be called 3, and then this one goes in here as the bottom one. Actually, again, this has to be the very bottom, and then this one will be again going to 1 or 100%, and then at the end we need a transition that goes from variant 3 to 1, so it's going to be called 3 to 1, not 3 to 1, 3 to 1, and we're going to move this guy like this, make sure that he's like about 50, and okay, let's just see how this works. We might have to adjust some things, but let's start connecting everything. And in order to do that, we just have to connect these buttons. So this button on click. So let's just transition on click, delay 0 set to variant 1 to 2. And this one, for example, won't be a click one, it'll be on a peer. Delay 0.3 seconds set to variant 2. There we go. And then on variant 2, for this one, actually for this one we need to delete this. And for this one, we set it to 2 to 3. And if we go here, we set this transition to on click, set this to, actually let me see how that looks like. They have 2 of these. They have one going back and one going forward. Okay, no problem. Let's try to do that. Let's just do the forward ones first. So this one goes like this, and then this one on a pier Let's remove this. This was going to have an interaction, new transition on appear, 0.3 seconds. Set to variant 3. And then here, set to variant 3 to 1. And then what we do is on appear, new transition on appear, 0.3, set to variant 1. So if I were to get this and bring this into our little project here, bring this underneath here. Let's see how we can do this. Add stack testimonials. Basically, we can add some padding so that it has some space everywhere. 60, 60, and set this to fit the content. What I can do is just try this out, and it's working. Now what we gotta do is this left button. And we might want to make these transitions a little bit longer. Like I see that, you know, it would be nice to have a little bit of a longer transition because it kind of gives that nice little weight feel. So we can do maybe 0.6. And on appear, 0.6. Now what we can do is we can duplicate this by doing like this. And then on appear, it takes you to variant 1. And this, if we click on this button, it takes you to variable, let's call this 2 to 1. So let's go ahead here and set variant 2 to 1. Right? And then we need another one here. So we can just duplicate this, remove this. Well, actually this has to have this appear. Okay, this works. This has to be 3 to 2. So 3 to 2. And then on appear, it takes you to, on appear, it takes you to 2 after 0.6 seconds. Right, boom. And then this button will take you to this one. So new interaction, new transition, click, set variant to 3 to 2. And then we need one called 1 to 3. So let's just duplicate this and call this 1 to 3. And let us on appear, transition, on appear, set to 3. And let's remove this button from here. And then whenever the 1 clicks on this back one, on this back button, it basically takes you to link, no, not link, sorry, interactions, new transition, click, set to variant 1 to 3. So now let's try this out. Let's go back here, and it's good. It might be a little bit too slow. Maybe 0.4 would be best, but it's working, I think. There's something wrong with this one. So this one is the first one, I think. So if I click back, it should take me to 1 to 3, which should have an appear. Okay, so this is the problem. So 0.4, let's put 0.4 everywhere. So 0.4, 0.4, 0.4. Just doing these like little tweaks to it, right? 0.4, 0.4. Go back home. Now that's looking really cool. So some of these are looking a little bit strange, meaning that, for example, this one, when it comes to this one should be kind of downwards. Let's see if something like, wait, it should be, let's think about it. This is 3-1. How does the 3-1 look like? 3-1 is looking like this, and before him comes this one, so it should look like this. So, and this one should show the previous one, which is this guy. So this one should go downwards. And let's try this out. This one is looking good. This one is a little bit switched up. All we have to do is just make sure that the order is right. So this one is going to send you here to him. And it's basically coming from, by the way, we have to remove this. So this is coming from 2. That means that if I were to click this, it would show this, and then if I were to click this, be from 3. So basically this guy should not be, this guy should be over. Well, at the end of the day, it's all about these different orders, right? Going back here should take me to 3-1, which is not this lady. It should be this man. 1-3. Interesting. It's not showing because it's negative. Okay, this is better. This one has to be a little bit less. And this one, he has to be less of the index. This one has to be the most. And same with the other one. So it's just a little bit about tweaking. As you can see, this one has to be more. Well, less actually. This one has to be more. And this one has to be less. This one should be more. And now it should work much better. So you can see that everything is coming from the behind. That's great. It's looking really cool. And now what we can do is we can just, we have to replace all of these different logos, all of these different text here. That's basically like the last step of this. And making the phone variant of this is just flipping this around. Basically, we can just do one for an example. as an example. So what I can do is just create a new variant, and I'm going to remove all of the different interactions that we have. So let me see, no, it's under this one. And under arrows, let's remove the different interactions. And all we have to do is just basically set this to be going downwards like this, and then recreating the different transitions. But from a phone view, this would be called, like, for example, M1 from mobile, right? And then as a variant, we can have a transition from 1 to 2, and then we, again, do this with decreasing the opacity from 0.2 from 1 to 0.2, and then creating a variant 2. And let's again move this and make this guy go like this, and maybe go like this, exactly, and then he can be here downwards. See? And then we have this, and we can just set this back to 1 and change the different ones. So this is going to be, whoops, let me change this. This should be M1 to 2, and this should be M2. And then just add the different interactions like that. So in the remix link below, I'll have this ready for you guys, but that's basically how you do it. So for the desktop version, we have it done already. It looks like this. It looks really cool. It has like a little bit of a interaction everywhere. It looks realistic. You can add this to your client's project or your own company project. And yeah, that's basically it. Hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. It's really fun, quite challenging, but that's like the art of doing these types of things, so that you guys can see how I build things, how I solve my problems, how I go to different websites and I click on inspect and check to see how they build it, and kind of implement that into my own work. So that's kind of the key here. It's all about problem solving and dedication, right? So we did it, and yeah, that's it. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.